There was a man who sat on the same street every single day. People walked past him, but nobody really saw him. To them, he was just a beggar. Dirty clothes, tired eyes, an old cup in his hand, waiting for coins. But what people didn't know was this. He was not always like this. Years ago, he had dreams. He believed he would become successful and free. But life did not go the way he planned. One mistake led to another. One delay turned into many years. Slowly, without even noticing, he stopped trying. He stopped moving. He stopped believing. One day, a rich businessman walked past him. Clean suit, expensive watch, confident steps. The kind of man everyone respects. The beggar looked up and asked a simple question. "Sir, how did you become rich?" The businessman stopped. He looked at him for a moment, then did something unexpected. He sat down beside him. The businessman looked at the beggar and asked, "How long have you been sitting here?" The beggar replied quietly, "Many years. I don't even remember anymore." The businessman nodded and said, "Then your problem is not money. Your problem is that you stopped moving." The beggar was confused. He said, "What do you mean? I have nothing. No job, no help, no opportunity." The businessman pointed at the busy street. "Look around you. People are moving. Money is moving. Life is moving. But you decided to stay in one place." The beggar felt uncomfortable. Nobody had ever spoken to him like this before. The businessman continued, "I was not always rich. I used to wait just like you. I waited for help. I waited for the right time. I waited for someone to change my life. But nothing changed. Do you know why?" The beggar slowly shook his head. The businessman looked straight into his eyes and said, "Because I was sitting, just like you." The street suddenly felt different. The beggar looked at his cup, the same cup he had been holding for years. Every day he waited. Every day he hoped someone would help him. But he never tried to change anything himself. It was easier to sit, easier to blame life, easier to believe he had no choice. The businessman stood up and said, "This world is a trap. Not because it holds you down, but because it makes you comfortable staying where you are." The beggar looked up quickly and said, "A trap?" The businessman nodded and said, "Yes. Some people are trapped in fear, some are trapped in hard work, and some are trapped in waiting for something that will never come." The beggar felt something heavy in his chest, because deep down, he knew it was true. He'd been waiting for years, but nothing ever changed. The businessman was about to leave, but he turned back and said one last thing. "You don't need money to start. You need a decision." Then he walked away. The beggar sat there in silence. The same street, the same people, the same life. But something inside him had changed. Slowly, for the first time in years, he stood up. His legs felt weak, but his mind felt different. Awake. He looked at the cup in his hand and let it fall to the ground. The coins scattered, but he did not bend to pick them up, because he finally understood something powerful. The real trap is not being poor. The real trap is believing you cannot change. Now, listen carefully. If you are still waiting for life to change, you are already stuck. But the moment you decide to move, even in a small way, that is the moment your life begins to change.